Hi everyone, today Phone Arena is taking a look at the LG Spectrum 2, currently available from Verizon Wireless for a $100 on contract price. The LG Spectrum 2 is a updated model to the original LG Spectrum that came out earlier in this year. The new model here features a larger 4.7-inch display, where the other one had a 4.5-inch. Both of them have the true HD ISP display used with 1280 by 720 pixels. So overall, the resolution of the display is quite good. As you can see, small text and images are nice and sharp and crisp. Unfortunately, viewing angles, as you can see, as you start to go off axis, the contrast and the colors seem to degrade some. So you have to look at the display straight on, but other than that, it's a pretty decent display here on the device. Underneath the display, you have your 4 capacitive buttons down here. Actually, when it's dark, you will see a little bit of a blue backlight color on there, which is a little bit different than the standard white backlight that most smartphones use. And up on top here, you have a 1.3 megapixel camera. On the left side of the device, you have your volume control buttons here and a micro USB port. Up on top is a 3.5 millimeter headset jack and your power lock key. One interesting thing about the power lock key is it actually holds the notification LED. It's a little blue circular ring there. Get it to light up again here. It's kind of annoying actually though, just because it's hard to see. Like if the phone's laying flat like this, you're not really going to see that notification LED all the way up here where the power button is. Also, it's strictly blue, so instead of having different colors for different events, it's just the one blue color. On the back of the Spectrum 2 is a 8 megapixel autofocus camera with LED flash. Taking the battery cover off, it actually has NFC built into it, as well as wireless inductive charging. The phone comes with 2 LG NFC tags, one for the office and another one for the car. But the wireless induction charging, you have to purchase the wireless charging pad for that, and it does run around $40 to $50 depending on where you find it from online. So underneath that, you have the 2150 milliamp battery. Was able to provide us about 10 to 11 hours of talk time on a full charge, or about 2 days of mixed usage. The micro SIM card slot here, and as well as the micro SD memory card slot here that you can put up to 32 gigabytes. So overall, it's pretty designed well. The phone, as you can see, is a little bit square, rectangularly square in shape, not quite as curved here as what you would see on the Samsung Galaxy S3. Even though the Galaxy S3 has a slightly larger 4.8-inch display, the overall phone size, you'll see the Spectrum 2 on the left is actually a little bit larger than the Galaxy S3 on the right. Like we said, the corners are more sharp at a perfectly 90-degree angles, where the Galaxy S3 has the more rounded and curved corners, which we actually like more. It fits a little bit better in the hand than having these sharp corners kind of jab into your hand. But other than that, it does have a nice premium feel to it. The black on the front and the back has a nice soft touch grip coating here on the back of the battery cover. Provides a nice grip in the hand, and the chrome accents around the side actually provide a nice premium feel for the device. So even though it's $100, it does have a nice feel to it that most other medium to low-end smartphones don't have. The LG Spectrum 2 comes running Android 4.0.4 Ice Cream Sandwich. It also has LG's Optimus user interface skin layered over top of it. So as you can see, it moves pretty smoothly here. Have a total of 7 home screens that you can glide between. Also down on the bottom are your static icons, and going into the app drawer again, pretty smooth here for either apps your downloads or going into the widget. So pretty decent design here as far as the user interface. Really easy to use. It has a nice fluidity to it, partly thanks to the 1.5 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor that the device uses. Another interesting aspect about it is when you go into the settings menu and into the home screens and themes, there's actually 4 different home screen themes that you can choose. Right now we're using the Optimus theme with this sort of a layout to it. There's also a Odyssey. It will change your wallpaper and also the icon style. There's a Shine theme and also a Thor theme. So it does give a little bit of extra customization with those 4 themes that most other smartphones don't have, but still lacks the higher amount of in-depth customization that you'll get on a HTC device that uses their Sense UI, but still pretty good here for a $100 smartphone. The 8 megapixel autofocus camera on the LG Spectrum 2 doesn't really seem to be that much improved upon from the original model. Most of the time pictures that we took outside, the auto white balance really didn't seem to work all that well. Images had a bit of a bluish hue to them. Sometimes the autofocus didn't really work all that great either. As far as the auto contrast and saturation, again, not all that great. So color accuracy, not 100% what we would expect to have on a 8 megapixel camera smartphone, but again, like we mentioned earlier, not really that bad considering the $100 price point. Unfortunately, interior images here again suffer from a lot of grain. Actually, the ISO jumps really high here, anywhere from 1000 to 1700, depending on the amount of light in the room or if you're using the flash. So even though with the flash image like this, pictures are nice and bright due to the high ISO that's used, there's a lot of grain in the image, and it's also kind of fuzzy looking. For recording videos, it does record at a 1080p resolution with 30 frames per second. So videos are actually going to look pretty decent here. Color and saturation is also pretty good, as well as the audio on the video. So overall, picture quality not all that great, video okay. Again, still not all that bad for the price point of the device. The call quality on the LG Spectrum 2 was also pretty good, as people that we called, voices on our end through the earpiece speaker was clear and natural sounding. However, people that we called, our voice on their end did sound a little bit hollow at times, and they could tell that we were using a cell phone. Signal reception for voice was also pretty good, as we didn't drop any calls, but as with most Verizon 4G LTE phones, when it's used outside, I have pretty good data reception. We get anywhere between 2 and 8 megabits per second on the download side, but once we took the phone indoors, oftentimes after a couple of minutes the phone would drop 4G and go into the lower 3G EVDO. But when used outside, for the most part, 4G worked pretty good with no dropping into 3G. The LG Spectrum also supports GSM bands for global roaming. So if you want to use the phone overseas, it will work with Verizon's Vodafone SIM card. So overall, the LG Spectrum 2 is a pretty decent smartphone for the $100 contract price. That's with a 2-year Verizon contract. Like we mentioned earlier, the 4.7-inch True HD ISP display with a 720p resolution is pretty good for the price. Call quality is pretty adequate, as well as the battery life and the dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor. Like we mentioned, the only letdown really of the device was the camera, not really improved upon any from the original LG Spectrum, but still not really that bad considering. So if you want to check out more information about the LG Spectrum 2, visit our website at phonearena.com.